Hey everyone, welcome to Logan's Mosh Pit. Glad to have you here. Do me a favor and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning into a new episode of Rock and Read. Today we will pick up where we left off with Chapter 19 and Chapter 20 of Iron Man, written by the riffmaster from Black Sabbath, Tony Iommi. Chapter 19 is called Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Purple. Here we go. John Bonham and Robert Plant were both from Birmingham. Me and Bill, when we were in the Rest, played gigs together with Bonham a lot. He'd be in one band and we'd be in another, and we'd play the same clubs. And Geezer knew Robert Plant more than I did in those days. Geezer and myself were out shopping one day, and we bumped into John and Robert. They said, "We got a new band. We're getting together with Jimmy Page." Oh, great! We didn't know Jimmy personally, but we knew him from the Yardbirds, so we were happy for them. The first time I heard Led Zeppelin's first album, I thought it was really good. Their heaviness was in Bonham powering the drums. Jimmy Page played great riffs, but he didn't have the heavy sound. His was a different sound, but it was a great combination. However, our direction was the other way around. It was the riff, the heavier sound of the guitar, where Zeppelin relied on thundering drums. We had our massive guitar and bass wall of sound. Bill Ward had said that at the time, we decided to out-heavy Led Zeppelin. I don't remember that, but we may well have, as you did in those days. But in reality, there's never been much rivalry between Sabbath and Zeppelin. We were both from Birmingham. We were all from the same gang, if you like, so we always wished them well, as I'm sure they did us. Nowadays, everybody communicates with everybody else in other bands, but you never did that much then. We talked to the guys in Led Zeppelin because Bonham and Plant were mates. There was always this thing between bands from London and from Birmingham, from the Midlands. London musicians always thought that their bands were better than your bands. They looked down on people from the Midlands, and we in turn looked at Londoners as being snobby. There was a lot of competition because of that, with bands trying to outdo each other. It was always Zeppelin and Sabbath and Purple, but the rivalry was with Deep Purple. Certainly later on when we had Paranoid in the charts, and they had Black Knight out. It was then, when we were both climbing the charts, that we felt the real rivalry. We were such good mates with Led Zeppelin that they even wanted us on their Swan Song label. I don't know why that didn't happen. Maybe we couldn't get out of the deals with Warner and Phonogram because we did sign ourselves to them forever. We would have loved to have had Peter Grant as our manager as well, but it wasn't to be. I think he only managed Zeppelin, and of course later on Bad Company, who were signed to Swan Song. In the early days, there weren't that many managers who managed a lot of bands. There was just one manager for one band. We had Patrick Meehan, and he didn't manage anybody else, at least not in the beginning. When the guys from Zeppelin visited us while we were recording Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, we had a jam together. Bonham wanted to play one of our songs. I think it was Sabra Cadabra. But we said, "No, we're playing our songs already. Let's just jam and play something else." I don't know if any tapes exist of that. That would have been a different one. Black Zeppelin. It's the only time that the two bands played together. John did get up and jam with us in the early days, but Bill never liked him playing his kit. It was his pride and joy, and Bonham always broke something. "Oh, Bill, let me play them." "No, you're going to break something." "Let me have a go, Bill." "No." They were mad, really. We're still mates with Zeppelin, even though Bonham really upset Ronnie when they came to see our show at the Hammersmith Odeon back in May 1980. John was on the side of the stage having a good time and drinking Guinness, getting more and more sloshed as the show went on. We came off stage and he said, "That guy's got a great voice." For Of course, Ronnie heard him. Bonham meant it as a compliment, really, but it didn't come out as one. Ronnie turned to John and said, "You!" It nearly came to blows. That would have been a lopsided fight because John was a bit of a hooligan. So I said to him, "Look, please don't." He said, "What's the matter with him?" Well, he didn't much like that. "Just go back to the hotel and I'll see you later. It's not a good time right now." He went away then, but blimey, it could have been quite nasty. Pagey is a mate. A couple years back he wanted to see our gig at Fields of Rock in Holland, and he flew out with us. We hung out, he saw the gig, we watched Rammstein together, and we flew back. I've seen him many times at various functions since. Well, that wraps up Chapter 19, so let's continue with Chapter 20. Chapter 20 is called, "This is America?" Here we go. Our first album was in the charts for quite a while in America, even though we had never been there. After we recorded Paranoid, we finally went. One of the stupidest things we ever did was take over our own PA. We took a Laney PA, Laney columns, and we had no flight cases or anything for them, so all the amps and cabinets suffered greatly from being thrown in and out of the plane's cargo hold. We got to New York and our expectations were sky high. This is the real thing. Ah, great! I can't believe it! But our first gig was in a poxy little club called Ungano's on West 70th Street in Manhattan. It was supposed to be the place to play, like when you're in London you do the Marquee. But we didn't think that when we saw what a hole it was. I guess they booked us in there because agents and record company people were supposed to show up. Our roadie, Luke, didn't realize it was a different mains in America, so when he plugged the equipment in, it blew up. Oh, bloody hell! What are we gonna do now? It was chaos, but they soon managed to get the fuses going again. We had 2 nights at this club and I thought, well, this is it? This is America? It was such a disappointment. But on the 3rd night over there, we played the Fillmore East, which was fantastic. Bloody hell. Monitors. What a difference. It was the first time we heard each other properly on stage. The first time I could actually hear Ozzy sing. It was brilliant, and after that, we never looked back. We played the Fillmore with Rod Stewart and the Faces. We really went down well, and Rod Stewart came on and he was practically booed off the stage. We did 2 gigs with him, and the same thing happened the second night. He was not a happy chap, but that's when we realized we were grabbing them. The Americans, they really liked us. Us being not very well known yet, some people thought that Black Sabbath was a black band. That didn't last very long, as they soon found out we weren't much of a soul group. As the tour progressed, we used to hang around and see other bands like the James Gang. We did the Fillmore West in San Francisco with them, and Joe Walsh was smoking this bloody angel dust. Right before the gig, Geezer said, "I'll just have a puff of that." Ozzy joined him. They thought they were just smoking a joint. Geezer said he was hallucinating on stage. It frightened him to death. Most of us were pretty out of it half the bloody time. I didn't partake as much. I was certainly no saint, but I thought it wise to try to maintain a clear head. Up to a certain point. Well, that's the end of Chapter 20. Let me know what you thought of both chapters in the comments below. That does it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. I'll see you next time. Till then, rock on.